The Video Audio Communication Arts program, known as VACA, here at the Elkhorn Valley campus of Metropolitan Community College, prepares students for this exciting line of work. And in this edition of Metro and More, we're going to hear about the career path of a VACA grad. I'm Kent Pavelka. Thanks for joining us.
Greetings from the set of Metro and More at Metropolitan Community College, serving more than 50,000 students with over 120 programs at our 8 locations in the daytime, evening, weekends, or online.
We're here in the video control room of the VACA program, and with me is Jessica Ritchie. Jessica, of course, a graduate of the Video Audio Communication Arts program, and great to meet you, and I'm anxious to learn a little bit about your background. Let's start with your days here at MCC. When did you go to college here?
Well, I started in September of 2003, graduated in August of 2005.
And you, so did you start here right after you finished high school, or what was your background there?
No, I started at Grace University doing their broadcasting journalism program. And they had an audio production class and then a multi-track production class using a really old system. This was back in 2001, and the system was old then. So I had so much fun with that class. I was like, well, when do we do more production? And they said, well, that's it. The rest is all, writing and that kind of journalism classes. And I was like, okay, but this was a lot of fun. Where can I do more of this? And that's when I found Metro.
You investigated and found MCC.
Yeah.
When did you get interested in this career path?
I think when I was in high school, one of my favorite things to do was to do my homework while listening to the radio. And at some point in high school, we took a field trip to a TV station. And I was fascinated by all the buttons and all of the monitors and just everything going on there. And I always kind of liked engineering, but I also liked something creative, and I liked writing. So when I was in college, I didn't know what I wanted to major in, and I thought about radio and how much I enjoyed talk radio, and I was like, maybe I could do that too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And here you are.
And here I am.
Did you were you intrigued by anybody in the business coming up, or was it just mainly that experience of kind of listening as you were working, and the kind of idea came to you? I kind of like maybe to look at that.
Yeah. I don't know if there was any one particular person. I really liked Otis 12.
Yeah.
When we moved here, I was a senior in high school, and I was already used to talk radio back where I was from in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And
we got here, and we started listening to Otis 12 when he was on drive time, and my mom and I just loved him. And I always liked music, and I loved talking, and I love getting ideas out to people. So
sure.
that was, yeah.
Let's talk about when you made the change from Grace to MCC.
Yeah.
Did you investigate a lot of options? I mean, there are a lot of choices out there.
Right. I wanted to stay kind of close to home. I looked at Northwestern Community College in Norfolk. They had a more music-oriented program,
Mm-hmm.
and that was interesting to me. But ultimately, I wanted to be closer to my parents, so I thought, well, I'll try Metro. And at this time, I was still mainly interested in radio. I actually worked at a radio station before I even started at Metro. That doesn't even exist anymore. It was KKSC in Bellevue, an old country radio station.
On the air?
Yeah, I was on air for a very brief amount of time. Mostly I was the sound engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved being the engineer, especially when there was like breaking news or a weather event, and I had to coordinate multiple channels coming in. I loved that kind of high energy environment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, talk a little bit about, can you put it in a nutshell what all you learned here in terms of your craft?
Oh my goodness.
That's a hard question.
Yeah,
I know.
well, I learned like everything I needed to know, I learned here. And I mean, to this day, I say, if you want if you want good journalists, you can go to UNO. If you want good photographers, you look at who's coming out of Metro.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not that UNO doesn't do a good job there too, but there's so much training that goes into just being a photographer that comes out of here. You start by taking a 2D design class where you just learn to draw. That's as basic as it gets. And you build on that over your whole program until it just all starts to click, and you just see, no matter where you're looking, you see how something should be framed, and you
see the whole world that way,
yeah,
don't you?
you do. Everywhere you go, you're like, oh, that would make a nice picture.
Yeah, it's like you're making a movie out of life, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Sometimes you get in that mode a little bit, and you have to stop and think, like, okay, wait, I'm just being a
I'm
person
not
right
working.
now. And it makes it really hard to watch TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're like,
you know what's going on in the background.
Yeah, you're like, why did they frame
Off
it
camera.
that way? Yeah.
So you're at KMTV now. Tell us a little bit about what you do there.
I'm a photojournalist, which technically means I'm a videographer. So I like to say I make the news look pretty. So when you have breaking news or any kind of news story, you need to get video of it, but it needs to look good.
Sure.
And that's what the photojournalist job is not only to make sure people can see what's going on, but to tell the story visually, which is something Bob Moss, especially at Metro, just drilled into our heads, to tell the story,
And you do it a couple of ways. You go with a reporter sometimes, and sometimes you're the videographer and the reporter,
Yes.
correct? So you do the voiceover,
Yep.
and stand up.
On the weekends, I'm what's called a MMJ, or multimedia journalist. So I'm both a reporter and a photographer for my own stories. I write them and voice them, and sometimes also you see me introduce them on camera.
Yeah. So was this your first job out of MCC?
No.
KMTV? Okay.
No, my first job was actually while I was in TV. It was while I was still at Metro. Was working as a production assistant at Fox 42.
Oh, yeah. So where do you want to take your career? I mean, is this it?
Well, I don't know. I did freelance for quite a while, and I enjoyed that. I'm looking into hopefully moving up as a reporter. Right now, like I said, I just MMJ part-time on the weekends, and I'd like to do it full-time.
Yeah. And what about anchoring? Are you interested in that?
Not at all.
You want to have your hands on the
Exactly.
process, right?
And I'm not even sure I would like to be a reporter. I think that would be fun and it'd be interesting, but I'd be a little sad to not have my camera and be the one shooting the story too.
Yeah. So a lot of would-be journalists, photojournalists maybe watching us, what advice would you have them relative to your experience here at MCC and post-secondary education opportunities?
Well, if you're looking at becoming a photojournalist, it's a slightly different path than if you just wanted to do commercial photography, which is what the program was when I was going through it, or fine art photography or something like that. So you really need to look at what are your career goals in being a photographer or being a videographer. It's going to slightly affect the way that you shoot and the way that you look for jobs and the outside skills that you need to have. But the basics and the technical aspects remain the same, and you're going to get a really strong foundation of that.
So
here.
you'd have the option,
Oh, yeah.
in essence.
Yeah, from here, you could go in so many different directions.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jessica.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll talk to Jessica. Actually, we'll be joined by a VACA instructor back in the day when Jessica was here at MCC, right after this.
This is Metropolitan Community College, where students connect with jobs. Choose from more than 100 1- and 2-year career programs on campus and online. Get started at mccneb.edu.
We are back in the video control room here at the VACA program at MCC's Elkhorn Valley campus. Jessica Ritchie has rejoined us, and one of her former instructors here at MCC, and a good friend of mine, Charlie Kogar. Why don't you guys take it from here?
Well, Jessica recently came to my introduction to script writing class and spoke to the class, talked about her student life here, when she was a student in the same exact course, Introduction to Script Writing, what seems like way back when now. And Jessica was an excellent student, really latched into the whole universe of video production and writing and storytelling. So she showed some work samples to the class, and the class asked a lot of really sensible questions and really learned a lot from Jessica relative to what they too can do as a student and a grad in the program. So what else have you done recently? Tell us what you're working on and what you've been working on.
Well, again, I work on something new every day, which is pretty exciting. And recently I did a story with OPS. They were hosting their annual All-City Music Festival, which is in 60-something year. I can't remember the exact date, but this was their first year at the Holland. So we did a story on them.
And in this story, this was one of your pieces as a multimedia journalist,
Yes.
where you went and shot and set yourself up
Yep.
as the on-camera reporter, shot yourself, so to speak, and recorded footage for the story, and then went back and edited the package together into a 1 or 2 minute package. Does that kind of sound right?
Yeah, so usually in the script writing class, you would write your script about what you're going to shoot, but in news it works a little differently. You shoot the story, and you come back and you decide what parts you're going to put into it, and you write your script then. And so when you're out in the field and you want to make sure that you have something on camera, you kind of have to decide what you're going to say to introduce your script right there on the spot before you even know what the rest of your script is going to be. So yeah, I had to set that up and make sure the camera was focused and exposed properly for me to then go to the other side after I hit record and make sure everything looked good without anyone behind the camera.
So you're that
fix it.
classic one-man band,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, let's take a look at that right now and tell us just a little bit about it when we come back.
Okay.
Let's roll it.
OPS choirs have been working for weeks on these pieces, and today they finally get the chance to perform for the first time here at the Holland.
Since 1949, the All-City Music Festival ran uninterrupted at the Civic Auditorium and the TAC building.
This is our first year of organizing this at the Holland.
It's always really cool acoustically, because like in our school auditoriums, they're nice and everything, but here, like you walk in and you can hear a pin drop on the floor.
Around 700 students from over 80 OPS schools have been practicing since the school year began. 6th grade and middle school choirs were hand-selected by music teachers.
One of the most amazing things is that the 6th grade chorus is doing a 3-part African American piece called Siyahamba a cappella.
High schoolers had to audition for a special performance conducted by Creighton University's Dr. Baron Breland.
Pretty complicated pieces. They're a good honor level group of pieces.
Students and teachers alike were thrilled to be performing at their new venue.
It's just kind of a really cool experience.
I'm excited to be able to hear it today. The acoustics are wonderful in this hall. We're so honored to be able to be here.
Jessica Ritchie, KMTV Action 3 News.
Thanks, Jessica. That was really interesting, and it's really a challenge, I'm sure, to drag all your own equipment, set everything up, frame the shot, and everything that you said. So I really appreciate you spending more time with us beyond coming to my class and speaking with tomorrow's media producers.
Sure. Yeah.
So, very good.
Jessica Ritchie, thank you very much.
Thank
Good to
you.
meet you, and Charlie Kogart to you as well. And thank you for being with us and for watching. Be on the lookout for more Alumni of Note interviews featured on Metro and More, brought to you by MCC's Friends and Alumni Network. For Metropolitan Community College, I'm Kent Pavelka.
If you have comments or questions about the program, please email us at metrovision@mccneb.edu. Thanks for watching.
This has been a MetroVision production produced by Metropolitan Community College.